So one day this girl is home alone because her parents and brother decided to go out for the night. As she's sitting there, she's having this really strange feeling to look outside the window. So she's sitting in the living room on the couch watching TV, and again she gets that sensation, so she's like, fuck it, I'm gonna turn. She turns to look out the window and she says she sees about 4 shadows out there. Like they're standing arm to arm with each other and looking directly into her window, but for her, like, she could only make out shapes, which are adults, but they're all like shadows. She can't see any details. She says that when she saw that, she got so scared she closed the window, runs up to her room and locks herself in. And from that moment on, her life became a nightmare. She says that she would go to sleep and out of nowhere she would hear almost like if a book was opened and the pages were being turned, but she didn't have any books in her bedroom. On other occasions when she would wake up, she would smell like a burning smell. And of course it was a concern because, like, what if this house is on fire? So she would follow the trail of that smoke and it would lead her under her pillow with pictures of herself that have been burned all around the edges. And like I said, this happened several times. After the whole photo thing, because at that point she grabbed every single photo that she had and took it out of her room and hid it somewhere. She would then start finding needles underneath her pillow. And of course she was terrified because she's like, who the fuck is going into my room while I'm asleep? And because she was so young, instead of like going to her family and telling them, hey, this is happening, she did quite the opposite. She would start putting like chairs on her door and like wardrobes in front of it just so that nobody would come in while she was sleeping. She wouldn't just experience those things in her room. If she were to go to the kitchen, she would find like weird symbols made out of like the salt shaker or like flour. And it wasn't these like salt and flour that were in the kitchen. It would end up in her room, knowing that she had never taken food into her bedroom or like make those symbols in there. The moment that she said that she had had enough was because she started to hear voices from her closet. She said that she would not just hear like one voice, but it was like a whole bunch of voices talking at the same time, and she would feel like attracted to that. Like she would want to go towards the closet, and she stopped herself. That's when she was like, no, I've had enough, I can't deal with this on my own. So she actually gets her family and she starts telling them everything that she's been experiencing. And she wasn't alone. Apparently her entire family have been experiencing these weird things. For example, her parents would be laying asleep at night and they would start feeling like something was crawling on the bed, and it didn't feel like a small thing. It felt like a human, like an adult just crawling, and the moment they would like get up, it would stop. But if they didn't move, it would continue to crawl like up to their head. And then her brother was experiencing really weird dreams where like this person would offer him some food, and the second that he would take it and almost bite into it, the person would become deformed and had like a tongue of a snake. And his brother's like, I've never had these nightmares before, and it's every night that he's having these. She thinks back to that day where she saw those 4 shadows outside of the house, and she thinks that the moment that she turned to look at them, like maybe she connected and she almost invited them in. She also believes that maybe the previous owners of that house had something to do with black magic. They had looked into it, and they say that the burning of the pictures goes back into some satanic rituals. I'd be so terrified, but what do you guys think?